and he's left an impact on this room and this team.
Is he now officially more the GA for?
You know what? If he will help me out, I know he's got some rehab to do, but I'd love to have him out there as much as I can to be that voice. So
Thanks.
I appreciate it.
I've heard from Coach DeBoer the daunting schedule that the coaches have. It's a pretty full week.
Yeah.
And I know that I don't want to disrespect the current opponent, but I wonder if there's a time when you can look ahead to such important games as are coming up at the end of the season, and also conversely, I guess, how do you keep your players from doing that?
Yeah, I know. Obviously, a lot of times, you know, we're not naive as coaches to believe that the outside, we don't really get out much as coaches, and the players do. They're walking on campus, and obviously a game like LSU is an opponent that a lot of people are talking to them about, a lot of buzz around that. But I think the way that we as a team and as a staff stay focused is what Coach DeBoer's whole program is about, is being going 1-0, being focused. I think that's a way, whether bad or good, to stay to keep that focus on the things that matter, because nothing's promised. I think the season has shown that at times in the games that we didn't perform up to the level, whether win or loss, that we thought we could perform to. And I think that this is going to be one of those weeks where that is paramount. We played so great last week, and if we don't perform the way that up to our standard, the Alabama standard, we've got more things to deal with than maybe at other times. And so as coaches, I think I've been harder on my guys this week coming off of a win, because we've had great wins, and when you don't repeat that means that mentally there was a slack off, and we've been harping on that probably louder than ever this week. And so we need to take a step forward as a team and complete performing to our standard, showing that on game day, and that's what we expect every game, but especially after having a great success that we wanted to have after LSU.
How have you seen? Go ahead.
Backpacking off of that, this season has been crazy, but what have you loved that has stayed consistent throughout the team this whole season?
You know, I'd say just the intensity from the leadership. Guys like Tyler Booker, Malachi Moore, Deontay Lawson, Jahad Campbell spoke to the team today. The intensity that those guys come with, because the leaders, you will always respect the guys that you line up next to. And so when those guys have it, it's like, man, I've got to step my game up. I can't take a minute off a playoff. And we know that any play could be the play. You know, it came down to a handful of plays in the Vanderbilt and Tennessee game. To see the leadership, no matter who we're playing, keep the intensity, that is what, as a coach, I'm excited about and what I appreciate coming in the building.
What did Jahad say today?
Just it talked about, hey, if you are not going to give your all for Alabama in practice, you don't need to be here. And that's just but that's something that those guys, you see it, they talk about it, but he's one of those guys that lives it. Tyler Booker, he lives it. You know, the leadership on this team is what drives this team, and I'm excited to see what they continue to do.
Jahad's a guy that can maybe get more reps at your position now with you down. Just how you think he can excel in that role, and maybe has he worked with you at all in practice? Been working on that?
No, he has, and that's one thing. Coach Morrell and Coach Womack, we spent a lot of time. You know, like I said earlier in the year, like how if a guy is versatile and you can line him up at several different places, the offense is having to figure out what he's doing. I've seen a growth in him, a desire to refine the things that he maybe didn't do all the time positionally. And so I've spent time with him pass rushing. I know Q Robinson, leading up to before getting banged up, spent a lot of time with the one-on-one and on just talking about, hey, this is how I do it, and really learning from each other as well. And so he's taken a great leap in that, and I think he's enjoying that, man, I'm versatile, I can line up. People have to wonder what I'm going to do before the ball snaps.
I'm sorry if you've already been asked about it, but Yanzi, what has he shown you since his growth this season?
The thing with him that I'm most proud of is a lot of guys when they're young, they're just happy to be here, and that's normal. I was that way when I went to Georgia. And then there comes a point when you realize, man, I need to do this now, and you see some habits change. And we talked today about, you know, the choices and actions that you take are going to lead to a habit. What type of habit on the field do I want? I want to be out there, and then I want to be counted upon. And I see that in him. He sits in the first chair in the meeting room. He's taken notes that he didn't take when I first got here, and that's just the growth from being a young guy that with first-round draft picks in the room, where I'm not being expected to do much, where now it's time for me to go. I see a sense of urgency from him, and I can coach him hard, and he knows that it's only for his good. And so those two things, really, the urgency and then being coachable, that's why he's having success and why I think he will help us and contribute in a way that's impactful on Saturday.
And he's Courtney Upshaw's cousin. Are you familiar with Courtney's
I
game?
do, yeah.
Do you see it a little bit?
So when I first got here, he was about 217, and then he started to beef up a little bit. I was like, okay, and then I learned about that. I was like, you're starting to look like him, and I hope you play like him too. So.
With Quay, how have you kind of seen him kind of accept now? He's kind of the top dog in the room with Q going down. How have you seen him embrace that, and what do you expect from him?
He's a quieter guy, but today when we break, each of the guys, I have them have a word for the year, and so that's one for two reasons. One, for them to have something that they hold on to for this season, and two, for them to speak to their teammates about what that word means. And his word is blessed, and he talked about just, man, like, we have this opportunity to go and improve, come out to practice, and we've seen teammates that are no longer with us, and wouldn't they love to be here doing what we're doing? And so to come with that, whether you're a loud guy or a guy that can speak a lot like a Booker or a Jihad, he's a guy that's more thoughtful. And so when he speaks, guys know if he's going to say, you speak up and say something, that he means it. So I see him being thankful and trying to push guys, and he's coaching. I seen him talk to Noah and the younger guys more, and sometimes when there's a void, that's when those guys step in, and when you look around the room, who's going to lead it? And I see him and Yanze being two of those guys to do it.
You never want to lose a guy like Q, but at the same time, can that be kind of galvanizing, where the rest of the unit kind of wants to play for him and kind of lift it up an extra notch to kind of make up for that?
We talk about that a lot, because I said, like, especially when we broke it down, I was like, man, look, he's not here. And Yanze was banged up at one point, and I think that was a change in his mind as well. Like, I felt what it was like to not have it. We see what it's like, and you see Q torn up after the game about knowing, like, I might play my last play. You don't know that, and so if you come with that mindset, what are you willing to do moment by moment to not only refine your craft to be your best, but to help the team?
Christian, there's a lot of talk about how versatile outside linebackers at Alabama can be.
Yes.
When you pitch that position to recruits, like, is there kind of a base level of, whether it's physicality, whether it's like intangibles like height, weight, size, speed, that you need to say this is what you have to be at a base level to be able to be seen by Alabama?
You're not wrong. I think a lot of it is, I talk to families and I focus on building a relationship, but there is an expectation in what you physically can do on Saturday. And so once that door is open, there's certain things, size. I mean, you got to take on guys like Caden Proctor and Booker. So there's a mass and a violence that has to be a part of that. And then at my position, guys that can do, I say it to pump us up in the room a couple times, but the truth is, we got to do stuff with the back end. We have to do stuff with the front end. We are at the end of the line. We're off the ball. We're playing man. We're playing zone. I don't know, and I might be biased, but I think it's one of the most versatile positions I've coached, because they have to have an awareness of what's going on around them and play at the line and off the ball. And so there is an expectation of what they physically have to do, and we're trying to find guys that love the math and the scheme of football, and don't just want to be, I want to set edges. That's great, but then they're going to pay you to move around the field when you're playing at the next level. And the guys historically have done that here, have been able to do that.
Thanks, y'all.
Thanks, y'all.